Our boy Sammy, our precious baby boy Sammy, little Samuel, has been arrested. Ooh. Just this week, Samuel Bankman Fried, the former CEO of FTX before the collapse, was arrested by the Securities Exchange Commission. They charged Samuel Bankman Fried with defrauding investors in crypto asset trading on the platform of FTX. And this is immediately released on the SEC's website. And they brought in the U.S. Wow. The SEC appreciates the assistance of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the FBI, and the CFTC, which is Commodity Futures Trading Commission. So, the Securities Exchange Commission brought the big fat hammer of potentially justice down on Samuel Bankman Fried because he got caught. Our boy Coffeezilla, I think, was the main driving force behind exposing him for fraud. Oh, little Sammy, why did you have to go and do it? So, we're gonna listen. Actually, no, here. So, long story short, how is this possible? How did Samuel Bankman Fried, the founder and CEO of FTX, one of the largest crypto exchanges in existence, how did he get caught? How did he get exposed? What happened that led to his arrest? What did he do? What were the moves he made? The wrong moves, the right moves? Now, this whole situation is insanely sketchy. There was a few main big points here in this whole FTX thing. I think the first one is the one of the biggest things that Coffeezilla exposed is that on FTX, whenever you signed up as a user, you could sign up as a margin trading user where you were taking a much riskier approach to your investing on their platform, or you could take a one-to-one securities investment approach where you're not trading on margin, you're not trading on debt, you're just trading dollars for a cryptocurrency. That's it. And then you own that cryptocurrency. It's like if you were to buy CDs or stocks or something in your investment portfolio. Like, you are spending money to get this stock or this digital asset in exchange. So there's two completely separate ways to sign up on FTX. One of them, you go the margin trading, the really risky route, where they have a different set of terms of service for users that they follow and they abide by. And they have a lot more flexibility they can do on the back end. Then you have the conservative safe zone user area for users who just wanted to use the platform, store some crypto in there, and that's it. They don't want to have their assets exchanged behind the scenes by FTX or Alameda Research or any of that stuff. They just wanted to store money, store digital assets in the FTX wallet that they had. So two completely separate users, risky gamblers, and then conservative people who just wanted to store their money somewhere. And they each had a separate terms of service that they were supposed to be abiding by. FTX told its users, if you're a margin trading user, here's your terms of service you're agreeing to whenever you sign up. And they told their conservative users, if you are a regular, simple, conservative investor, here's your terms of service. The real problem came whenever the collapse of FTX happened. They did not hold each group of users to the terms of service that they agreed to. They lumped everything together in one big old fat pot, and there was $4 billion that was unaccounted for and lost in the process. So whenever everyone saw that FTX was crashing, all of the people who were trading on margin decided to pull their money out. A lot of the people who were just storing digital assets in the platform got caught holding the bag, and all of their assets went to zero. They weren't able to get any money out because the people who had the much riskier terms of service that they were abiding by, they were able to pull all their money out before a lot of the people who were just letting their money sit in there that weren't doing margin trading. That was one of the main issues. And Sam Bankman-Fried admitted that they did not have separate buckets. And we're going to listen to our boy Coffeezilla real quick.
So those funds should be
on a call with Sam Bankman-Fried in a Discord, in a Twitter space.
different, in a different place, in a different wallet than everybody else. What you talked about, servicing billions of dollars of withdrawals, has nothing to do with those specific digital assets, because that's just first come, first serve, whoever pulled out first. We're talking about people who never agreed to have their funds loaned out, who never agreed to have their funds put on margin. They should have, according to your terms of service, one-to-one backing. It should all still be in some bucket somewhere.
Exactly. There was no separate bucket for each group. There was just one big fat bucket, which is the problem because not all the users agreed to the same terms of service. One of them was supposed to have their money backed and protected. The other one was taking a much bigger risk, trading on margin, gambling.
And are you confident today, as the CEO of FTX, this has nothing to do with Alameda, are you confident today to say that those are absolutely real and they exist and they're present, people are backed one-to-one on client digital assets?
So I think, and again, I'm just taking a stab here.
So, I think, according to my calculations, I am taking a stab here.
But I think what happened is that if you look at especially a lot of the withdrawals that happened, those withdrawals were not necessarily only coming from people who never used margin trading or futures or staking or anything else. Those weren't just withdrawals from people who were keeping one-to-one backed, or were sort of just keeping them as pure spot balances. And it was omnibus wallets, between the various categories. And so I think that the answer to your question is that a number of those assets were withdrawn by people who had balances on the exchange.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get the coffee roasted.
Buckets of there are no buckets. It's just one bucket. Everyone's taking out of the bucket, which means substantially anyone who had your terms of service with digital assets wasn't actually subject to that terms of service. They were subject to the same terms of service of your margin trading, right? Which is your more risky product. So you subjected everyone to the higher risk product because fundamentally, when it came down to it, you're saying there's fungibility. It's $1 here, $1 there. Everyone can take out $1 as fast as they want.
No.
Don't you see that as like defrauding your customers, the people who trusted you to just say, hey, this is not going to go anywhere except for we're not investing your assets? If I can exchange one-to-one and I'm the one who put risky stuff on with risky assets with risky terms of service, I can take the money that someone who didn't sign up to those same risky terms didn't agree to. Isn't that fraud?
So I'm specifically talking about what happened in the days immediately during and following the crash, in that held up withdrawals for you. I hear where you're coming from on that. I felt at the time that we wanted to treat customers equally. It was an incredible,
but they had
see.
I felt at the time we wanted to treat customers equally.
But your customers were different customers, treating everybody equally in one big fat bucket. That's not what they agreed to. It's not what they signed up for.
Agreed to different things, so you can't treat them equally. I mean, it's like,
No.
This is the whole problem of the story of FTX and Alameda, is all the funds were being commingled. Isn't this just another story of commingling funds, except this is now FTX, which you can't pass the blame to Alameda anymore. This is your company, your funds, that you are treating all the clients the same when they clearly signed up to different terms of service.
So I just want to respond to that, and please,
So he knows that he just got roasted. Exposed.
completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, Coffeezilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here. I completely understand where you're coming from, but to answer your question,
Look
I
at
made
that.
the decision there. We processed withdrawals as we normally.
You can tell by the smile on Steven's face. Boys, we got him. And you know what that means.
FBI, open up!
Oh, man.
And
Steven, you dirty dog. All right, so it's hard for little Sammy boy to respond to that one. So, that being said, at the end of the day, this entire time that Sam Bankman-Fried has been claiming that he, I don't have all the data. I just don't have the data. The data's somewhere on a server. I don't have the data. If I had the data. No. As the CEO and founder of FTX, I don't have the data. I don't know. It was a terrible mistake that I made. Right? There's only so much that you can use negligence as an excuse. There comes a point where you need to take full responsibility for your actions. And I think that we will see Sam Bankman-Fried take full responsibility of his actions in court. And here's the thing. The U.S. government is going after Sam, which is why he has just been arrested in the Bahamas. Just this week, freshly arrested in the Bahamas, getting extradited back to the U.S., where he will stand on trial for what he did or did not do, innocent until proven guilty. But there's a lot of evidence that looks like he's guilty. So we will see how things pan out in court. But my best guess is that the U.S. government is going to make a fat, stinky, big old example out of Sam Bankman Fried. Because, and there's still $4 billion that are missing from this whole equation. And another thing that he was doing, too, he was basically cooking the books, saying that FTT token was worth way more than what it actually was. The official token of FTX, basically on the books, whenever they're saying, look at our balance sheet, these are our assets. They were listing their own currency as one of their assets, and they were valuing it way higher than what it actually was worth. So they were cooking their own books at the same time, too, to give them a higher valuation. That way they could get more money from lenders and trading and all kinds of things. So there's a lot of really gray areas. And then once you start doing a deeper dive into Alameda Research, which was a sister company of FTX, but we were very separate. And there's accounts that have said that there was backdoors set up in FTX's core database that allowed Alameda Research to pull money from behind the scenes without regulators being able to see that money was going away from FTX to Alameda Research. There's all kinds of really suspicious stuff that went on the whole time. In my opinion, it's a big, fat, stinky mess. We have little Sammy, the most generous billionaire out there. Little Sammy has been caught with his hand in the metaphorical and literal cookie jar of justice. And I think the United States is going to make a fat, stinky example out of Sam Bankman-Fried. And I don't have any remorse for him because he's going to answer for his action in court publicly. And he's going to get punished by the U.S. government. They will bring down the hammer of justice swiftly, promptly, and hopefully firmly. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Sam Bankman-Fried. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you think he's going to get pimp-slapped by the U.S. government for his potential fraud, maybe, possibly. This is your boy Shiitake. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.